Beachbody coaches. And I'm really excited now to welcome our next guest on the National Wake Up Call. This person is also a fellow superstar diamond from Miami, Florida. She's an elite coach in 2014. As a matter of fact, she has been an elite coach for 3 years in a row. And how does that happen? Well, one of the things that's got to play into it is the fact that she has qualified for Success Club in 52 straight months. I know the social postcard went out, said 43, but that was a mistake. Obviously, we did that just on purpose based on today's topic, but it's actually 52 months in a row in Success Club. She's a Success Club All-Star 10 legend. She has 23 personally sponsored diamond coaches. That's incredible. And, you know, we talk about the leadership ladder, and really the leadership ladder, one of the key things to keep your business growing and stable is to constantly be developing your personally sponsored coaches, and this coach is really fantastic at that. She's already sponsored 4 Success Starters this year. She's had 9 coaches advance in rank in the last 90 days, and she is somebody that you definitely want to hear from. We know that for sure, so we made her one of our Summit workshop speakers. So if you're registering for Summit, you'll have an opportunity to possibly select the workshops where she is speaking, but you don't have to wait till then because we have got on the call none other than superstar diamond Kristina Delgado. Kristina, are you there?
I am here, Michael. Wow, that was quite the introduction. Thank you for that.
You know, I didn't go to any sites while I was in France. I knew I was going to be on this call, and all I did all week was prepare for that introduction.
Wow, you surely did a great job.
Yeah, and it actually wasn't hard because you really have done such great things as a coach, and we're excited to have you on the call. And you know, it's funny because we think we hear all those accolades, and we just assume that you do everything perfectly, that you get it right from the start, but that's actually not the case. Is that right?
That's right. You know, in preparing, my script for this call, I really had to eat a big old slice of humble pie because I'm admitting to 3 major mistakes on this call that I made as a new coach. And, just in the hopes that at least one thing is taken away from this call that can make a difference in someone's business that's just getting started.
Well, I'm sure it will. It's always good to hear that even those that have the most success have stumbled a few times, but they figured out a way to, turn those stumbles and to learn from them and grow from them, and that's what you're going to talk about today. But before you do that, let me just ask you, for those of you that don't know you, tell me a little bit about what motivated you to become a coach and what your life was like before you were a coach.
So, my story starts a lot like a lot of new coaches do. I started off with a discount because at the time that I became a coach in August of 2010, I was a wife. I had 2 little ones at home. I was also an associate attorney at a big Miami law firm. And like most people, excuses were running high. I didn't have time to work out. But I knew that something needed to give in order for me to, be a mom that was active and present in my kid's life. And my sister, Becky, who's also a leader in the network, had become a coach, and she had just tremendous results with P90X and Insanity. And she was a busy working mom, too. And I looked at her and I said, you know what, if she can do it, I got to give this a try. And she introduced me to Shakeology. I think I was one of her first Shakeology customers ever, and I immediately started seeing results with it. I hadn't even started working out, but I felt so good and losing weight, feeling the energy, that when she, said, why don't you just sign up for the discount, I jumped at the opportunity just to save money. I really told her that I never wanted to work this business because at the time my career as an attorney was my priority. Everyone knew that. And, that's how I started. I started with just the discount, which I think is the beginning of a lot of coaches' story with Beachbody. And it wasn't until I went to my first event, which was the first Super Saturday, that I realized that this business was real. It was the real deal. And if I focused on it and hit Success Club every month, that I could potentially do something great with it. So, from there, the rest is history, and here I am today.
Wow. Well, we are glad that Becky convinced you to get involved, and we're happy to have you. But so let's jump into today's call. You were, like we said, you said you're going to eat a little humble pie and tell us some of the mistakes that you made and how you overcame that. So let me get out of the way, and you just dive right in.
All right. So I wanted to start with a turning point in my Beachbody business, and that was at my first leadership event in California. At the time when I went to this leadership, I believe I was a 1-star diamond, and I was totally still unsure about this business. I kind of had started to get my feet wet and developing a team, obviously making tons of mistakes. And I didn't quite believe that this business was going to be one that would take me to where I am now, where I'm retired from the practice of law. All of that was never really in my goal list for my future. I was just kind of testing the waters with the business. And of course, I was completely intimidated by Beachbody and the leadership of Beachbody and being around corporate and all that stuff. But I sat there and I listened because I knew that was what's going to take my business to the next level. If I chose to do it, I needed to be able to learn. And I believe it was Jeff Hill, during one of the corporate presentations, said something that changed my business forever. We were talking about converting customers to coaches, and he said, it was magical, I swear, like the skies opened up and I heard the angels sing. He said 70% of diamond coaches are customers first. Let me repeat that. 70% of diamond coaches were customers first. Literally, I had to pick up my jaw from the floor because that's a huge number. That's a big statistic. And at the time, what I was doing was basically just sponsoring a bunch of discount coaches so that I could, quote unquote, grow my team. And really, all I was doing was just trying to hold my rank. And it was at that point when he said those words that I said, something's got to give. And I realized some of the mistakes that I had been making in my business. So today I'm going to share 3 of those mistakes with you guys. Hopefully, at least one of them is something that you can implement and change right now in your business that's going to give you awesome and long-lasting results. All right, but let me start by saying, go ahead, Michael.
No, I was just going to say I'm on the edge of my seat. Dive right in.
I'm going to drag this on for a while. No, I'm just kidding. I just wanted to point out one thing before I get into the mistakes. It's that no one is perfect. I know a lot of times you see on social media all this excitement with the business and the leadership and all of that stuff, but I bet if you were to ask any top coach in Beachbody, if they made mistakes along the way, they would say yes. And I bet a bunch of those mistakes were made in their first year. So I wanted to share those that I had because I wanted to point out that this business takes action. If you're not acting, then you're never going to make mistakes and be able to learn from them. You want to make those mistakes and then learn from them because that's what's going to build you a big and successful Beachbody business. The first 2 coaches that I sponsored in this business, they quit. And the first bag of Shakeology that I ever sold was returned. So seriously, that was not the making of a successful Beachbody business at all. But I got up. I rolled with the punches. I learned from those experiences. I realized what I had done wrong, and I kept moving forward because if I was going to make it, I needed to be able to navigate through rough waters. So here are the 3 mistakes that hopefully you'll learn from today. Number 1, and Shay Sanford's going to smile at this one, but I knew nothing about Shakeology. Yep, you heard that right. I knew nothing. I was literally Shakeology's biggest cheerleader. You can ask any of my team. I was super passionate about it because I had lost 65 pounds with Shakeology and felt amazing, but I didn't really understand the power behind the shake that I was so happily promoting on a daily basis on Facebook. I really didn't take the time to understand just basic information that would allow me to educate my customers so that they would continue drinking it. That is the key. I mean, if I didn't get it, why would they? And if I wasn't successful in converting them into discount coaches, then you guys, my retention rate of customers was abysmal. And thinking back, what a shame it was of all those people that I lost because I didn't take the time to learn just basic information about Shakeology. We're not saying you have to be Darren or lean. That's definitely not what I'm trying to point out. It's that you are able, in discussing with your customers, that Shakeology is more than just an option. It's a daily necessity. You're going to have better customer retention. So what did I change? Well, I paid attention to Shay Stanford and what she told me one day. She said, you have to hone in on your customers' family health history and their health goals. One more time, you have to hone in on your customers' family health history and their health goals as opposed to just talking about weight loss. If you start off a conversation with a customer talking about how much weight do you want to lose, it is far more difficult to dig into the health benefits of Shakeology, and you will lose them when you start talking about adaptogens and phytonutrients. They're not going to care at that point. So by eliciting information about their health history and their goals with regards to their health, it's easier to fit Shakeology into their health equation. And this creates long-lasting customer retention and also the opportunity to present a business to them. So I recommend that you guys dig up Shay Stanford's recent National Wake Up Call on this topic, because in 30 minutes, she will literally give you a lot of information that you'll have at your fingertips to be able to use with your customers in showing the power that is Shakeology. And I really don't think I have to highlight the fact that everything in this business is tied to Shakeology. It is what I call our bread and butter. It's what ties into our residual income. It is what creates Success Club points. And it is how we go on all these amazing trips. It's really, it all boils down to Shakeology. So take the time and learn it, because I promise you it's going to be worth it. Changed a lot in my business. Number 2, I was waiting and not leading. Well, what does that mean? I would literally sponsor a coach and wait for them to just get it. I wasn't recruiting responsibly. I would do nothing. I took absolutely no responsibility for my new coaches. And some of the reasons were, and you'll probably feel the same way, I felt like I was going to make mistakes. I felt like I was going to say the wrong thing. I felt like I was going to mess it up. And to tell you the truth, I prejudged a lot of them and thought they never would want to work this business. I was the queen of labeling people as discount coaches because, in fact, I was one. So I wanted them to be the same. And to think of, this ripple effect that I was causing in my team by doing this. The quote that helped me change this mistake in my business is by Zig Ziglar. He says, you can have everything in life you want if you will just help enough people get what they want. I thought that was so powerful. So what did I change? And these are 3 things that are basic. They're probably something that you've thought of doing, maybe haven't done it yet. I'm telling you today, take action. Number 1, start hosting one-on-one Getting Started Right calls with your coaches. Make that non-negotiable. There were plenty of times that I wanted to cancel, to reschedule, to avoid them like the plague, but I did it anyway, rain or shine. And remember, this is when I was working still as a full-time lawyer and running a household with my husband, Danny. I did it anyway. And at first, they sucked. They totally sucked, but the more I did it, the better I became. Funny how that happens, right? Then another thing happened, and it all boils down to the why. When our team was still fairly small, we actually jumped on a conference call, and we all shared our whys to each other on this call. The call literally took 3 hours. And we cried and we laughed and we shared. And at that point, I realized how important it is for all coaches, number 1, not only to have a why, but number 2, that if you sponsor a coach, you got to know what your coach's why is. You have to know how to elicit that information from them. Because, in fact, the why, I don't have to say this too much because it is a common theme in our business. It's the number 1 and most powerful tool that you have in keeping your motivation high to work this business. So elicit the why, and that's what I started doing. And then number 3, I began to lead. And when I began to lead, I gave permission for others to lead. I realized that in my first, year and a half as a coach, I was afraid that if I turned the reins over to someone else, that someone would make a mistake, that they, would mess something up. And what I was doing was I was suppressing enormous potential on our team. I mean, looking back, now we're almost 5 years into our organization. We have 9 elite coaches. Our team is just doing phenomenally well. And it's because, we said, go do it. We did it. Now you go do it. Go lead your teams. And they started duplicating success. And that simple concept created not only huge organizational growth, but team-wide training spun out from that. We developed deeper coach connections. This business to us is more than just, challenge pack sales. We're friends, we're family, and that's what creates an amazing culture. And new leadership emerged. So remember, this business is about duplication. If you are not doing, if you are not acting, then no one else will. So today, my call to action is that you start recruiting responsibly. Don't do what I did. The moment that you sponsor a coach into this business, take responsibility. Step up into a leadership role and lead them, show them, teach them. Don't expect your upline to do it. You do it. Because at that point, you've made a decision to change someone's life, so go change it. Number 3, this is my epic fail. Number 3 is I was not developing deep customer relationships. Remember when I said at the beginning of the call that 70% of diamond coaches were customers first? Yeah, that totally had not registered in my first year. I was just a retail selling machine, and my work was complete when I saw the order in my coach online office. I know, terrible. I'm sure everybody's like, fine. People were really turning into just successful points, and they weren't getting the attention they deserved from me. And it's funny because the other night, one of our amazing coaches, Emily Hawkins, she's a 2-star diamond on our team, said on our team call that she began developing marriages with her customers instead of one-night stands. And I thought, what a brilliant analogy for the mistake that I was making at the beginning of my business. I was all about the one-night stand. I was not creating deep, long-lasting marriages. So what did I do? Number 1, I would make sure that I was having meaningful conversations with my customers that were just not about health and fitness. I wanted to know about their life, about their marriages, about their friends, about their family, about everything, how they were doing. Number 2, I would get on the phone. Don't be scared to get on the phone with people. I'm telling you that when they hear your passion come through and hearing your voice, your results are going to improve tenfold. Get on the phone with your customers. And number 3, our relationships were not confined to the business. They were real, they were sincere, and they had integrity. It was not about just a sale. I was truly invested in their success and not just in their health and fitness. I wanted to see them be successful in life. And so that's what I do. I shoot for developing these epic customer relationships. So at the time when the fork in the road is presented to me and I tell them, hey, I really think that you need to be a coach and do what I do because I think you'd be amazing at it, they know without a shadow of a doubt that it's coming from a good place and not a place of personal gain for me. And that, too, ensures that the values of Team Beachbody and what we do as coaches are protected and duplicated going forward because when they do become a coach, they're going to emulate my behavior with their customers. So, Michael, I'm going to close here, and I'm going to say that I could probably write a book about the common mistakes Beachbody coaches make in their first year. Those are the ones I wanted to highlight because I think that you can actually implement them today, start changing your habits today, and it would produce results in your business today. I truly believe that if you're developing a business with this year's theme in mind, everyone matters, then you are on the right track. We have a powerful business at our fingertips, one that can be such a tremendous blessing, not only to you, but to so many people around you. So treat it that way. Recruit responsibly. Develop deep customer relationships. Learn your products. Learn Shakeology. Because your decision to become a coach can directly impact thousands of people. I've lived it. I know it. So take time to do it right. But at the same token, don't be afraid that you're going to make mistakes because you are. And if you are, that means you're growing. but learn from them, keep moving forward, because everyone on that's listening to this call and every coach in the network was meant to make a difference. There you have it.
There you go. You know, Kristina, you were when you were talking about Shakeology, and you kept telling everybody they should go back and pull up Shay Stanford's call on Shakeology. I think that in a couple weeks you're going to hear people saying you need to go back and pull up Kristina Delgado's call because that was just packed with so much great stuff. And you know, you talked right up front about that this business is about action. And I think that, you know, and doing that action on a consistent basis. And so often people are just, you know, they're kind of paralyzed because they're afraid that whatever action they take isn't necessarily going to be the right action. And that's just secondary. You have to take the action. You have to, you know, if you make a mistake, you can always improve from those mistakes. And what I loved was you talked so much through this call about some very specific actions that people can take that are really going to help them grow, whether it's from, you know, Shakeology product knowledge or learning really when we say you need to be a leader, what does that mean? What does that look like? What are those calls like? What are the things that you do? And so just and about how do you know, we talk about developing relationships, but how do you do that? And, you know, as hard as it is, you got to pick up the phone. You got to learn about their whole lives. And just, wow, fantastic, Kristina. This was just action-packed and full of great stuff on this call. So thank you for that. But, hey, before we let you go, let me just ask you, now you've been – so how long have you been a coach?
In August, it'll be 5 years.
So in 5 years, you talked in the beginning, you were, you know, the wife and mom and a lawyer. How has your life changed in those 5 years?
Wow. It's completely changed. I'm going to probably get emotional now, but this May I celebrated 1 year from, retiring from the practice of law, and I've been a present mom, a present wife, loving life, living it to the fullest, doing something I completely love doing. We've had some big, you know, amazing blessings in the last couple of months between my sister, Becky, and her husband, Larry, and Danny and I and my parents. We bought our first vacation home in the Florida Keys, and I'm sure you guys have seen the pictures, but it's a dream come true that wouldn't be a possibility without this business. So everything is different, Michael. This business has tremendously blessed us, and what's cool is that it's not just me and it's not just Becky. Our team has been tremendously blessed by this business. So just dream big, because things can happen for you.
Oh, that's awesome. And I'm waiting for my invitation to the Florida Keys. But actually, well, thank you so much, Kristina. Again, just a spectacular call. And for those of you that are on the call and people on your team, you want them to hear it, Sandy's going to pop back on. And I'll thank you one last time, Kristina, and I'll flip it over to Sandy.
Yeah. Kristina, that was awesome. Thank you very, very much for joining us, everybody. You're going to want to listen to this again, so here's the number, 832-225-5065. Make it a great week, everybody. Bye-bye.